For Clark, that's 13, as Howard is up to 18 points.
Pass in.
27 years. That's how long the biggest stage in sports advertising ignored women's basketball. Then the wait ended. Out of every superstar, every proven champion, every icon brands could lean on, one name rose above the noise. Caitlyn Clark. Still early in her professional journey. Still technically the future, not the past. Caitlyn, what was it like walking into that moment, that crowd, that pressure?
Well, Caitlyn, how did this crowd, this moment, this environment meet your expectations today?
I mean, they always exceeded.
It always goes beyond expectations. A $16 million bet on just 62 seconds of screen time. Why her? Why risk it now? And when that commercial finally aired, the old playbook cracked. In less than a day, tens of millions watched. In a matter of minutes, one athlete shifted ticket demand, media attention, merchandise sales, and cultural relevance all at once.
Here's Clark. Wow! You bet!
How does a single player accelerate an entire league's economy in real time? This isn't a basketball story. It's a recalibration of power. Long before the Super Bowl lights, before signature shoes, before mainstream fans learned her game, Caitlyn Clark was already bending momentum on and off the court. But there was one defining moment that turned momentum into inevitability. One commercial that didn't just introduce a star, but marked the beginning of a new era. State Farm didn't ease Caitlyn Clark into the spotlight. They didn't test her with a regional rollout or tuck her into the background of an existing campaign. They made a decision that told the industry everything it needed to know. They put her front and center. National broadcast. Prime placement. Alongside one of the most recognizable brand mascots in American advertising history. Jake from State Farm. In that moment, Caitlyn became more than an athlete. She became a statement. The first NCAA player ever trusted with that level of exposure by the insurance giant. Pause on that for a second. College athletes had only recently gained the right to profit from their name, image, and likeness. Most were still navigating local endorsements, car dealership commercials, small restaurant sponsorships.
On the past couple weeks and even the past couple months, I feel like I'm so focused on helping this team win and be so great.
Caitlyn skipped that stage entirely. She entered at altitude. But what made the commercial unforgettable wasn't the opportunity. It was the execution. She didn't feel like an athlete reading lines. She felt like someone who belonged on camera. Every beat landed. The pacing felt natural. The confidence wasn't forced. She played off Jake effortlessly, delivering punchlines with timing that can't be coached. Viewers weren't watching an endorsement. They were watching entertainment. That distinction matters. Authenticity is the most expensive commodity in modern marketing, and Caitlyn delivered it without trying to manufacture it. She wasn't playing a role. She was being herself, and the camera rewarded her for it. The response was immediate and measurable. According to the Shorty Awards, the campaign generated 29.2 million video views, over 115,000 social engagements, and more than 157 million impressions across State Farm's channels. But the real number came later. Independent analysis revealed that Caitlyn's spot was 46% more effective at driving engagement than the average State Farm advertisement. 46%. That isn't incremental improvement. That's dominance.
Decades, the best get-ahead passer, and her three-point shot.
The magic wasn't just in the script. It lived in the micro moments fans obsessed over. The pause before a punchline. The subtle smirk when she knew she nailed a line. The way she casually handled a basketball like it was an extension of her body, not a prop. She didn't feel like a spokesperson. She felt like your favorite hooper who just happened to be in a commercial. And suddenly, people who had never watched a women's basketball game knew exactly who Caitlyn Clark was. One commercial opened doors athletes spend entire careers trying to unlock. And she walked through them without hesitation. Then came the Super Bowl. Nike had waited 27 years to put women's basketball at the center of a Super Bowl commercial. 27 years of watching other sports dominate the biggest advertising stage in the world. When they finally returned, it wasn't subtle. It wasn't cautious. It was a declaration. And they chose Caitlyn Clark to lead it. The commercial, titled "You Can't Win, So Win," ran for 62 seconds during Super Bowl 59. Nike didn't surround her with placeholders. They assembled an all-star roster. Aya Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Sha'Carri Richardson, Jordan Chiles. Elite athletes across sports, unified by a single message. You'll be told you can't. So win anyway. Narrated with gravity and set to Led Zeppelin, the ad felt less like marketing and more like a rallying cry. A tribute to underdogs who refused to stay quiet. Within 24 hours, the commercial surpassed 66 million views. 66 million in a single day. Analysts estimated earned media value exceeding $40 million. But the sentiment mattered more. It ranked in the top 1% of all Super Bowl advertisements for social power, with 75% positive sentiment. That isn't just performance. That's cultural penetration. Nike paid roughly $16 million for that slot, and they trusted Caitlyn to help make it resonate. She delivered. But what truly separated this moment from typical sports marketing was what happened underneath the surface. With one commercial, Caitlyn bridged two worlds that rarely meet cleanly. Corporate sports branding on one side. Grassroots hoop culture on the other. She connected them in 62 seconds. And in doing so, she didn't just elevate herself. She elevated the entire conversation around women's basketball in America.
You can too.
What separates Caitlyn Clark from traditional endorsement playbooks isn't deal size. It's structure. She isn't stacking logos. She's building an ecosystem. Every partnership connects. Every product feels intentional. Fans aren't just buying merchandise. They're buying into a routine, a mindset, a lifestyle they feel personally attached to. Gatorade understood that immediately. They didn't put her face on a bottle and walk away. They built a campaign around her habits. Hydration. Recovery. Preparation. The messaging tied directly to how Caitlyn trains and plays. Suddenly, every bottle felt Caitlyn approved. Fans didn't treat it like a drink. They treated it like affiliation. The limited edition bottles sold out almost instantly. Stores scrambled to restock. Social media filled with unboxing videos and routine breakdowns. The Yukon-era campaign followed the same pattern. Towels. Bottles. Drops gone in roughly 24 hours. This wasn't a sponsorship. It was behavioral adoption. Kids mimicked her routines. Aspiring hoopers followed her blueprint. That level of influence is what brands chase but rarely achieve. Then Wilson took it further. Caitlyn launched the first female signature basketball collection in the company's history. And again, she didn't just pose. She co-created. Colors. Texture. Design. Feel. The final product reflected her personality and playing style. That matters. To understand the significance, look back to 2003. When LeBron James released his first signature shoe, it signaled trust. Trust that a young athlete could carry a product line. Caitlyn reached the women's basketball equivalent before fully settling into the WNBA. The Wilson collection wasn't about selling basketballs. It was about establishing her as a collaborator. A partner. Not a face. That distinction changes careers. Athletes who co-create command more respect, loyalty, and long-term value. Then Nike escalated again. They unveiled Caitlyn's personal logo. 2 interlocking C's. Simple. Clean. Adaptable. Some called it basic. That reaction proves why it works. The greatest logos are instantly recognizable. Jordan, Federer, Brady. They scale. They translate. Caitlyn's does the same. Hoodies, shoes, bags, anything. The logo wasn't the end. It was the foundation. Her first full signature shoe is scheduled for October 2026. Roughly 3 years into her professional career. Most athletes wait a decade. Some never get the opportunity. Industry estimates project between $100 and $150 million in sales. Numbers usually reserved for legacy superstars. Nike doesn't see potential. They see inevitability. The signature shoe is validation. It means a brand is betting on relevance years into the future. Nike is making that bet early. That level of confidence reshapes how the industry views her ceiling. Caitlyn isn't following the old athlete marketing path. She's compressing it. And expanding it. She's building commercial infrastructure alongside athletic development, not after it. That approach changes everything. To understand the scale of Caitlyn Clark's ascent, you have to compare trajectories. Not to diminish others, but to provide context. Sabrina Ionescu is a star with real endorsement growth, but she hasn't led a Super Bowl campaign at this scale. Angel Reese generated early buzz with Reebok, but reports suggest sales momentum cooled. Aya Wilson is a dominant superstar with strong brand recognition built over time, but she didn't enter the league carrying this level of viral heat. Jewel Lloyd is respected and consistent, but her campaigns haven't broken into mainstream culture. Cameron Brink arrived with nil momentum, but hasn't combined national advertising with signature product launches. Caitlyn has. And the numbers confirm it. 66 million views in one day. Real sell-through on Gatorade. Wilson Collections moving inventory. This isn't attention. It's conversion. Analysts estimate Caitlyn drives roughly 26% of WNBA economic activity. One player influencing over a quarter of a league's revenue engine. Ticket sales. Merchandise. Ratings. Sponsorship valuations. Forbes estimates she earned over $8 million as a rookie. Social growth tells the same story. Nearly 800,000 Instagram followers added in weeks. TikTok up over 50%. Fans aren't observing. They're investing emotionally. That creates a flywheel. Campaigns generate attention. Attention drives engagement. Engagement attracts brands. Brands create more campaigns. Caitlyn sits at the center of that acceleration. What she's building goes beyond personal success. She's rewriting the athlete marketing template. The old model rewarded longevity. Prove yourself. Then monetize. Caitlyn flipped it. She's building parallel tracks. Athletic excellence and commercial power developing together. That signals opportunity. For brands. For leagues. For future athletes. Nike's $16 million Super Bowl investment wasn't just about one player. It was proof of concept. Women's sports audiences are larger and more valuable than traditional metrics suggested. Caitlyn is the case study executives will reference for years. She understands the system around the game and bends it in real time. These aren't endorsements. They're signals. And when one player redefines value at this scale, the ripple effect changes everything, the bigger picture. What Caitlyn Clark is building reaches far beyond endorsement totals or highlight reels. She is defining a new operating system for athlete branding in the modern era, especially for women who have long navigated a narrower path than their male counterparts. For decades, the formula was fixed. Perform. Win. Accumulate awards. Then, if the timing was right, brands would follow. It rewarded patience and longevity, not leverage. Caitlyn has rewritten that order. She is proving that commercial power can be constructed alongside athletic growth, not years after it. This shift matters far beyond her own success. It signals something to the next generation of women athletes and to the companies trying to understand them. If one player can generate this level of demand, engagement, and real sales before reaching her prime, what does that say about the unrealized ceiling of women's sports as a whole? That question is forcing executives to rethink assumptions they've held for decades. Nike's decision to invest $16 million in a Super Bowl commercial centered on women's basketball wasn't a gamble on one name. It was an acknowledgement that the audience is larger, more passionate, and more valuable than outdated metrics ever captured. Caitlyn isn't just participating in that realization. She is the evidence behind it. The reference point future strategies will be built around. And this is still the early phase. Many athletes learn how to dominate their sport. Some learn how to monetize it. Caitlyn operates on a different layer. She understands the ecosystem surrounding the game and moves within it intentionally. She doesn't wait for validation or permission. She positions herself where culture, commerce, and competition intersect, forcing institutions to adapt in response. Nike, State Farm, Gatorade. These aren't sponsorships in isolation. They are indicators. Proof that a structural shift is already underway. The real question isn't whether this moment fades. It's who recognizes its significance before the landscape fully changes. Because when one athlete redefines value at this scale, the next decision doesn't just reshape a career. It reshapes the industry. So the question that remains is simple. Who sees what's coming next? And who will realize it only after the opportunity has passed?